Well, despite all the transfers that we did make during the special in yesterday's episode, we are still predicted to finish bottom of the two Bundesliga in our first season up from the Free Liga, but hopefully we can get off to a good start and an intriguing first matchup as we take on the Free Liga champions in Eintracht Braunschweig. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 30 of the Leipzig Loko with Lokomotive Leipzig here on Sean Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we start our first season in the two Bundesliga, the fourth one of the save, and it includes a clash to start things off with last season's Free Liga champions in Eintracht Braunschweig before we do travel to take on Holstein Kiel. So we'll see how we get on in this new division here, the second tier of German football. So if you're looking forward to that in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but yesterday we did do a transfer special, added quite a few players to our squad here at Lokomotive Leipzig, so if you missed the episode, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. It does mean we don't have too much to cover off before these first two games of the season. In today's episode, a quick reminder of what our season preview though does look like for the two Bundesliga this season. We are predicted to be heavily finishing bottom of the league. For our first opposition today in Eintracht Braunschweig are predicted to finish a bit further up the table in 13th, which is interesting, and also Ingolstadt were to make their way up through a playoff. They're predicted to finish 15th, so it does feel like we would probably more likely be ranked in between those two teams based on our performances last season, but apparently our squad quality here at Lokomotive Leipzig does make us the heavy favourites to go straight back down to the Free Liga. And the second team that we are taking on today, Holstein Kiel, only predicted to finish slightly above that Eintracht Braunschweig team, but still we are being predicted to really struggle this season, so it could be a tough one. Hopefully we can prove those odds wrong and get off to a good start nice and early against the team we are quite familiar with from the Free Liga last season. So we covered off all the transfers, as I said in yesterday's episode. Don't need to spend too long going over our squad and our tactic going in to today's episode. We're going to run with the exact same thing we did use at the end of that Free Liga season last year to get ourselves up into second. However, we are carrying a few injuries going in to this first game of the season. Obviously, Kylian Zaruba, injury late last season when he was out on loan, so he won't feature for quite a while with those damaged cruciate ligaments, but also one of our new midfielders in Matteo Kichala will be out for this first game, might be back to make his way onto the bench for that second game against Holstein Kiel, and also our starting right winger in Micah Wusu will also not feature for this first game. Both those players are out with twisted ankles, so it does mean for the first game a few changes to what ideally we would be doing. Ricardo Grimm keeps the spot as a centre mid on attack over Kichala, and as well as that, Danny Hermel out on the right wing. But apart from that, this is our first choice lineup going into the new season. And first up, we do take on, as I said, a team we are quite familiar with from last season down in the Free League of the champions in Eintracht Braunschweig. These guys did pinch a result against us in the home game last season. A bad mistake from at that point, Harsman in goal, did mean they did pick up a 1-0 win, but before then we did beat them away from home. So it does feel like this could be a game we could get something from in front of our home fans to hopefully start things off nicely in the two Bundesliga. And off the back of that, we take on a Holstein Kiel team who did start the season with a win over Arminia Bielefeld. These guys are predicted to finish a little bit higher on the table in 13th. Will probably be a little bit of a tougher test, especially away from home, but hopefully, as I said, we can prove those preseason odds a bit wrong in these first couple of games of the season. Hopefully, like the last couple of years, get off to a decent start and get ourselves up the table nice and early and away from that relegation threat, which we are expected to be facing, and we'll come back shortly and hopefully start the season off nicely against familiar opposition as we host Eintracht Braunschweig. And here are the team sheets for this first game of the season. As you can see, now that we are in a Bundesliga division, we do get some different graphics here for the team sheets. We ran through our team before, just those changes at right wing with Hermel, and also in the midfield with Ricardo Grimm over one of our new midfielders. there were Eintracht Braunschweig, and hopefully, despite the fact they are going, it looked like, with a 4-3-3, we can get off to a good start here in front of our home fans. And just show the 10-minute mark, the first highlight in this game is a throw-in our favour. We actually pick out Ziani there in behind the defence, albeit doesn't control the ball, and it is a chance here for Eintracht to try and get on the front foot, but thankfully Stankovic, also one of the new players here at Lokomotive Leipzig this season, does head that one back, and we get a chance here to build out from the back. Very quiet opening to this game so far. Absolutely nothing has happened, no shots at all, but one of our new signings there, Quieto, in there for Julian Weigl, makes his way out left. Now Zimmer, nice ball there for Danny Hermel, left open far post, but unfortunately that one just goes wide of the target. We get the first shot off, but it is still 0-0 coming up to the 15-minute mark. And that was the only highlight of the first half in our first game up in the 2 Bundesliga. Fairly even in terms of overall shots, albeit it was Eintracht Braunschweig who did end up with 3 on target compared to our one, and we didn't see any of those shots on target. So it looks like the best chance might have been that chance which was blasted wide by Danny Hermel. Nice and early, but so far not doing a bad job here against the team who were champions from the Free League last season while we finished in second. We'll tell them we just need to keep on doing well. I think we need to be positive with our guys in team talks this season, because otherwise that could turn dynamics against us early, and that could end up being a bit of a problem, because that could be key in us staying up this season. But we'll get things back underway, still locked up at 0-0. And it's taken until 10 minutes into the second half, but we eventually get another highlight in this game. It was there a free kick in our favour, but unfortunately didn't take long there for Eintracht Braunschweig to win that back, but good work there from Heinke to get that ball back for us before they do make their way into our half. Now Ernesto plays that one forward to Ricardo Grimziani there. Stopped his run for some reason. Grimmer to take on the shot, and that one goes over the bar. Stats now very even, but coming up to the hour mark, we are still locked up at 0-0, and a few players out there are struggling in terms of ratings. In fact, our entire front four all struggling, so I think we'll make some changes here for this last half hour. The entire front three will be replaced with Ogbidi Bulland, as well as our new striker and Danny Lewell, and as well we'll take off the new midfielder in Quieto for a more familiar face in Julian Weigl, and hopefully can grab a winner with a half hour left. And just about into the last 10 minutes of this game, it does feel like we're starting to get on top now in this one based on stats. But with this time left, I've actually just realised that we were supposed to take off Lucas Search at half-time, just coming back from an injury he suffered in pre-season, was only recommended for 45 minutes. So because of that, we will have to take him off, albeit I think Mark Lamptey might be a better choice in that ball-playing defender role than Daniel Ahindu. That will be our last substitution, but it is still 0-0 late. And thankfully there is another highlight in this game, because so far this has been a pretty boring one to start off the season, but we do have the ball here with 10 minutes left, unfortunately. Give it away though, and we did try and make our way inside their final third, but Ernesto does get that back from a clearance, takes on the shot himself, and Hoffman nearly takes that one back over the line, but unfortunately it is not a goal. So far our shots in this game haven't been overly threatening, and now there is the ball here in possession of Eintracht Braunschweig so far. We've had all the highlights that we've seen in this game. It would feel harsh if they pinched it now, and to be fair, good work there from Linus Zimmer. Pings that one forward for Anton Bulland off the bench. Can this fresh front three get us a late goal in this one? We try and put the ball there into the mixer, but Braunschweig do clear that one, and big chance here for them down this left wing. They do get in behind our defence here, albeit they take that on from a tight angle, albeit he squared it. Big chance there for their striker, albeit he was offside and also put it wide. And we start to enter the last 5 minutes, still locked up here at 0-0. We might go a little bit wider and hopefully create something else in these last couple of minutes. And we are just entering injury time in this game. As you can tell by the stats, that second half in particular, off the back of making those substitutions at the hour mark, we have got well and truly on the front foot in this game, which is encouraging, even though we do start off the season with a 0-0 draw. But certainly overall, we have 3 times the shots of Eintracht Braunschweig, but unfortunately one less on target. But most of the highlights there were in our favour, and the only one for the opposition was a late one where the striker did end up offside, but unfortunately just didn't look like we had too many good chances in that game despite all those shots. So hopefully we can build on that in the next couple of games. Of course, still have some players in our squad too who might not be too familiar with the way that we are playing just yet, in particular Stankovic as well as Quieto, who are newcomers and came in quite late before this first game of the season. But in terms of overall performance, that wasn't too bad. Hopefully a bit more clinical our next game, and we'll probably need to be against what I imagine will be stronger opposition in Holstein Kiel. But we get off to an okay start, a point at home against the Free Liga champions in Eintracht Braunschweig. And here are the team sheets for the second game of today's episode. This one away at Holstein Kiel. Of course, we took on their second team down in the Free Liga last season. They got relegated. I imagine these guys are a lot better. And there we are going off the same starting lineup, but this time Owusu can make his way onto the bench, but that is the only change to our lineup. And hopefully we might be able to sneak a few more points here away from home, but no doubt this one will be a bit tougher against the team we're a bit less familiar with. And just making our way into the second part of this first half and what's been a quiet game so far, and we do eventually get a highlight in this one. Zimmer there tried to clear our lines, and Holstein Kiel in the mostly blue with the red socks do try and play this one forward. It's really bad from us there though. At the back it's a flick on, and Shabani does get in behind him. Shabani will score the first goal against us in the 2 Bundesliga, and it's a poor one. Our centre-backs there did not deal with the danger in the air, and we go 1-0 down in the first highlight, even though it has taken just over halfway through this first half. It was Luka Search there who eventually gets called out, albeit as well as that Stankovic also did a misread earlier. It's a bit of a poor start from that first highlight, and we go 1-0 down. And only a few minutes off the back of that opening goal, as well as adjusting some opposition instructions, Holstein Kiel here might start to be getting on the front foot now with a throw-in. They keep the ball for now. Thankfully, Leon Heinke does win that one back in the air, but Ricardo Grimm flicks that one on, and Holstein Kiel are back in possession. Do look quite snappy when they do have the ball with their passing here. Now Mies starts to make his way infield, takes on the shot. It's a low worm burner, but thankfully Krapikas comes up with a decent save, does our new Lithuanian goalkeeper. But just past the half-hour mark, we are 1-0 behind. And coming into the later stages of this first half, and hopefully now that we are down the other end, we can do something. A throw in here in our favour. We do start to go backwards just a little bit, but Leon Heinke on the ball plays that one back to Luka Search. Now Zimmer back again there for Search and Heinke, just taking our time here to try and find some gaps in this Holstein Kiel defence. The goalkeeper there plays it forward to Heinke, and yet again Zimmer starts to make his way forward down this left-hand side, does the frame, but unfortunately is a bit slow on things, matching his nickname, and the ball now is with Holstein Kiel, but we eventually get it back, and now Tilgan starts to make his way forward into the final third. What can he do? It's a long shot, but unfortunately that one goes well wide, but it's the first bit of business we've done in this game. But unfortunately still 1-0 down with only a few minutes left in the first half, and in fact another highlight before we can get into half time, but this time it might be in favour of Holstein Kiel. They keep the ball there down that far side. Johansson back in there for a centre-back, and now Muller with a ball over the top, and it looks like Mies here, too much pace for our defence. It's again then for Shabani, ran onto that one, good strike, but just goes wide, and hopefully that means we can get into the sheds. Only 1-0 down. As you can see yet again, we are not getting that many shots on target, albeit this time it's fair to say we are certainly being outplayed and might need to make a few changes here at halftime, with the likes of Jamal Ziani only on a 6.3, as well as Stankovic at the back on a 6.4. So those might be two players who will come off at halftime. We'll bring on a Hendo in place of Stankovic on that 6.4, and Danny Lewell up front for Ziani. But at the moment it's been a pretty average display. Hopefully we can improve in the second half, as we are only 1-0 behind. And nearly 10 minutes into the second half so far, we're starting on the front foot a little bit, but it's a corner here to Holstein Kiel. It's a good effort there at the near post, but thankfully Ricardo Grimm does clear that one off the line, and we are still only 1-0 behind. And in fact, right off the back of that highlight, I think it might be time for us here to try and make our last couple of substitutions. Just feels like here we could be doing a bit more in this one. So what we are going to do is take off some players only on average ratings. First off, we'll take off Danny Hermel and bring on one of our usual starters in Mike Owusu back in the mix for this game. Also, Ernesto on a 6.5 can come off for Eric Vufag. We will still have one more substitution left, and it might be time for us to use it. Tim Lehman can come on for Ricardo Grimm. Hopefully, that can help us in this last half hour and try and grab an equaliser away from home. And just inside the last 20 minutes of this game, and it is a throw-in here to Holstein Kiel. They put that one into the box. Thankfully, we clear that one away before Shabani, the goal scorer, can get on the end of it, but Johansson on a yellow card here floats that one towards the far post. Vufag could have just found a Wosu there, but for some reason put that deeper and straight into the path of a Holstein Kiel defender, but good work then again from Vufag, and now we get a chance here to control the ball as we do look to play out from the back, although it's a poor option that time from Owosu. And now Holstein Kiel put that one in behind there for Pickler. He chips the goalkeeper, but thankfully Hindu tracks back nicely. One of our quicker centre-backs here at the club puts that one out for a throw-in, and thankfully still only 1-0 down. And just into the last 5 minutes of this game, we did go a bit wider about 5 minutes ago to hopefully see if that will help us a bit more in attack. But so far, it's fair to say we have been the second best team in this game, albeit does look like yet again in terms of our shots in this game, we are getting a few more off in the second half. But unfortunately, we get done there, and Pickler will grab his second goal of the season, and that one will probably put this game to bed. We get caught out there from a ball over the top. It was played there by Lorenz. Picks out Mies, who gets in behind our wingbacks far too easily, and Pickler somehow threads that in between our goalkeeper as well as a defender. And eventually, we go 2-0 down here to Holstein Kiel. Off the back of that, we probably need to go attacking, and also we'll just try a few more things here that I did try and change just to see if it would help late in this game. But unfortunately, looks like we are going to suffer a defeat away from home in our second game of the season. This one, though, a little bit easier to cop, and now Linus Zimmer does lose out on possession there. So it does look like now that we have gone attacking, just a bit looser on the ball, and Holstein Kiel again here will get a chance as Pickler gets in behind just on the edge here of the box. Will square that one in for Fetty up. He will also get his name on the score sheet. Maybe going attacking has just opened us up a little bit here at the end of the game defensively. And now we are 3-0 behind. Pickler here puts the ball in for Arp, ran onto that one and just gets that one by Krapakas in goal. And after keeping this one quite close for most of the game, we have conceded 2 late goals. And unfortunately, our first away game in the 2 Bundesliga, we do suffer a 3-0 defeat. We got more shots off in that second half, albeit overall yet again, not many on target. So far, looks like our attackers not doing the job in the 2 Bundesliga like they were late last season in the Free Liga, which is a bit concerning. We'll tell the guys not too happy with that performance. In the end, a 3-0 defeat. That game certainly not as encouraging as the first one, and we'll see what that does to the table off the back of the first 2 games of the 2 Bundesliga season. At the moment, still just outside of the relegation zone, but that is a bad defeat in the end. Even though we kept it close for quite a while, we suffer a 3-0 defeat away at Holstein Kiel. And having gone for a few more clicks off the back of that second game in today's episode, a disappointing defeat, but in the end, that first game, as I said earlier, did feel like we didn't play too badly in that Eintracht Braunschweig game, and ideally with our strikers being a bit more in form, probably could have picked up a win from that one if we did get some more shots on target, but unfortunately, only a point from that game, and it does mean we are down in the relegation playoff position. So at the moment, it looks like it might be a little bit of a struggle, albeit I think I saw enough from that first game to hope we can pick up some points at home, and hopefully that will be enough for us to stay up in the 2 Bundesliga this season, as that is certainly the aim, but early doors looks like might be a bit of a tough ask to try and get this team into a playoff hunt like we have done each year so far in this save, albeit that second loss did come against the team in Holstein Kiel, who are the only undefeated one so far this season. But as I said, thought I saw enough from that Eintracht Braunschweig game where hopefully we can pick up some points over the course of this season and hopefully end up avoiding relegation and ideally also avoiding a relegation battle. But that will do it for the first episode gameplay-wise of this 4th season, the first one in the 2 Bundesliga of the Leipzig Loko. If you enjoyed it, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. I think we're going to come back for our very next 2 games in this season, because next up for us, we do have the first round of the DFB Pokal, albeit it's a really tough ask for us this time. We have got Bundesliga opposition in the first round. We take on FC Cologne, a team who are predicted to finish 12th in the Bundesliga, so a bit stronger than a team that bumped us last season in Stuttgart. So that could be a really tough one for us in that opening round of the DFB Pokal. But to be fair, it is at home, so hopefully we might find a way to cause a bit of an upset there, albeit that is extremely unlikely, especially off the back of that 3-0 loss to Holstein Kiel, and then a game which could be really big to try and gain some confidence in the 2 Bundesliga hopefully perform a bit more like that first game and not like that second one, as we take on another former rival from the Free Liga in Erzgebirge. Hopefully at home we can pick up a win in that one and get ourselves up the table and ideally outside of one of those relegation positions. But we'll come back for those two games in the first episode of next week and hopefully find some form off the back of a little bit of a rough start. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Thought I could do this, slept through the sadness. Don't know how I ended up till I